Hi, this is Dr. Patrick Cohn with Peak Performance Sports at peaksports.com. This is my YouTube channel, or the section called Ask Doc, where you can submit mental game questions to me via my website at peaksports.com, and I'll answer them in this section of my YouTube channel. Here's the question for today. Don, who is a sports parent, says, I have a 17-year-old son who plays golf. He always starts the round well, but he'll finish poorly. Recently, in a round of his last tournament, he was even par through 15 holes and then 4 over on the last 3 holes. How can I help him put it all together in competition? This is a very, very important question, and a question that I get quite often. As a matter of fact, I wrote the book on this. It's called Going Low, How to Break Your Individual Scoring Barrier. This question really isn't about putting it all together. For me, this question is about his comfort zone is getting in the way and not allowing him to play freely on the last 4 holes. Okay, what is a comfort zone? Typically in golf, golfers will go out and think, well, I'm going to shoot somewhere between 75 and 80 today, or I'm going to shoot between 72 and 75, depending upon their ability and their typical score range. Well, that score range sets the comfort zone for that particular golfer. So when they're playing, they're constantly comparing, how am I doing versus how I expect to do, and thereby setting up the comfort zone. So if a golfer is way over what they expect to do, what happens? Frustration. However, if they're under par and they don't expect to be there, what happens in that situation? Here's the key. They start to protect their score. They start to play more defensive golf instead of offensive golf. They start to look for where not to hit the ball. Don't hit it here. That's an instant bogey. Don't miss the green. You won't be able to get up and down. So they start with a lot of the don'ts. They start with looking at where they should avoid sections on the golf course. And now they're playing very protective and they can't swing freely because they're holding on to this lead that they have in their own mind. All right? So what he needs to do is he needs to continue to play offensive golf instead of defensive golf. That's the short answer. Okay? How do you get to offensive golf? Well, I tell my students, look, you got into that position because you're playing well. So what you need to do is you need to milk it and you need to ride it. And you need to think about how you're going to finish strongly in the round, but focusing on it one hole at a time, one shot at a time. I usually suggest that they set some really aggressive goals right in the middle of that round. They're playing well and all of a sudden they realize it. Set some goals to make another birdie on the last 4 holes, for example. Or keep thinking birdie. That's a very aggressive type mindset. The best opportunity, I think, is to not know what you're shooting, because that's the limiting factor here. If you want more information about my golf psychology programs, do a Google on the Golfer's Mental Edge. That's my CD and workbook program. And I talk about this information as well, about how to avoid comfort zones, deal with perfectionism, overcome expectations, and develop, consistent pre-shot routines. The Golfer's Mental Edge at peaksports.com. That's all for today.